Ashe. Peace to all the gods and goddesses of planet Kai. Peace meaning positive energy always creates elevation. And we're in here with it today for another video. Oh yeah, I'll give me a second. Alright, y'all, we in here with it. Excuse me, y'all. Okay, so peace, rising, ashe. We in here with it today for another live. We coming right at y'all right back to back with another one. Wrapping it up for the celestial aquatics on this one. So as you can see by the title and the thumbnail, we coming at y'all with the celestial aquatics part 3. You feel me? We coming at y'all with the celestial aquatics part 3. So yeah, so this is the celestial aquatics part 3, the final wrap up of this Nomo story. You feel me? And after this, we're gonna move on to the next. So we coming at y'all right back to back with a whole nother one, wrapping it up with this Nomo story. You feel me? Peace to everybody walking in. Peace to everybody joining in. But yeah. So we're gonna go right in. We're gonna get right into it. So like in part 1 and part 2, right? We talked about these celestial aquatics, and we talked a lot about them in part 1, right? And we explained more into the topic about, you know, them being here amongst us in part 2. You feel me? So if you haven't seen part 1 or part 2, it's imperative that you go watch those. I suggest you to go watch those. But for this part 3 here, we just basically gonna be summing it up all the way to what's going on now with our aquatic celestials. So yeah. So basically, we're just gonna be wrapping it up, summing it up with our aquatic celestials. We got a computer here with us today, so we're gonna be showing y'all some visual references of how they're letting you know you have aquatic celestial beings living amongst you. And like I said in a previous videos we did about this, we got all into where they come from, all into things like that. So like I said, this part 3 is gonna be a sum up of your aquatic celestials from Series B. You know what I'm saying? And your aquatic base in general from Series B, from the star system of Series B. And which now we know is the Series B is really the Bazoofians. So any beings coming out of Series B is the Bazoofians, the Bazoofians. You feel me? So and you know they titled them. You know they got many titles as they took on different colonies throughout the galaxy. You feel me? But this is what we're here talking about today. So, um, yeah, we just summing it up. But yeah, like I said, we got the laptop here with us to give y'all a visual reference of how they're letting you know you got these advanced extraterrestrial beings who are dealing within the same lineage as you, actually here on your planet, here to help you and here to further enlighten you, actually, and help you in this war against this grand evil. Uh, they're letting you know that, or what they're not letting you know is, you know what I'm saying, what we're decoding is how these beings are here, right? But before we dive into that, it's imperative that we set the right vibratorial frequency. So I want to give a peace to all the gods and goddesses of planet Kai. Peace meaning positive energy always creates elevation, or positive enlightenment always creates elevation. So um, peace to my elders. I want to give a peace and gratitude to my elders tuning in. Peace and gratitude to my middle age tuning in. And peace and gratitude to my peers tuning in, with that being 21 and under, your youth. So peace and gratitude to the God Divine Insight. With that being said, let's roll into it. Okay, so we're gonna be decoding how they're trying to hide this race from you, and they're trying to hide the grand awakening of this race and your race. They're trying to hide, and they're trying to keep you disconnected from your lineage within the aquatic matter, right? Because you have so much ancestral bloodline, you have so much ancestral cosmic bloodline, right? And you have so much family, but you have aquatic family here with you that you have been lied to about and misguided about and misdirected about and misinformed about your whole life and through generations and generations before you even got here. So it is not your fault that you lack this knowledge and you lack this insight. This is what we're here for today, to further expand your intellect, to further enhance your intellect to this insight that it belongs to the original beings of this planet. So when I'm telling y'all this information, this is our information. You know what I'm saying? This information is meant to go around from person to person, being to being, that especially is us. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, you have, these people are trying to keep you disconnected from your aquatic families. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to keep you disconnected from your aquatic race who are here for you, right? But they show you this. But they don't show you this war that's going on with the aquatic realms, though. They only show you the wars that's going on with the land. They rarely show you the wars that's going on within the skies, but they don't show you the wars that's going on within the aquatic realms. Right? I mean, we decoding all that right here tonight. I mean, right here today, excuse me. But, yeah, so let's dive into it. So, oh yeah, peace to everybody walking in. Because this is the ancestors' message, because this is the aquatic, because I am being the voice of the aquatics, I cannot rewind myself, I cannot backtrack myself. So if it's anything that you may not understand, you might gotta go catch part 2 or part 1, because it won't make sense if you didn't watch part 2 or part 1, and if you're here now and don't know what's going on. You feel me? So we're gonna jump right into it. Later on down the live, I'll break everything down that may not have made sense if you haven't watched part 1 or part 2. But so yeah, basically they're trying to keep you away from your aquatic family, because what we know as the 4 phases of matter, right, which is really 5 phases of matter, but what we know as the 4 phases of matter is solids, liquid, gas, plasma, right? Well, we know what we exist on the solid, right? We exist on the solid, which is what we are experiencing now, right? Everything around you is solid. Everything you everything you see perceiving through your retinas is solid, but you have a matter that's a little more above. Did you have a matter that's above this matter? You have a density that's above this density, which is liquids. So your liquid density, you got, just like you got family in this solid density, right? Just like you got family in this physical matter, you have family in the aquatic matter. You have family in the liquid density, right? You have family in the liquid matter, and you have a race of beings, extraterrestrial beings, who are terrestrial to this planet, just like you, right? Although you are extraterrestrial to this planet, you still have beings who are. But although you are extraterrestrial to this planet, being a carbonated neuromelanated being, you're still terrestrial to this planet because this is your planet, right? And you here, like you live here currently. So that makes you a terrestrial. But you're an extraterrestrial because you're not from here, right? So you have an aquatic life that is extraterrestrial to the planet, but it has been terrestrial to the planet since this planet has been created. And these people in these aquatic base is a part of your lineage, and they don't want you knowing this because this aquatic base can unlock so many genetics within you, can unlock so many abilities within you, so many memories within you. So they at war with the aquatic base and with your family on aquatic realms and aquatic matter, just as they're at war with you on the physical matter and the gas matter and the plasma matter. You feel me? On and on. But right here we just subjecting it the aquatic. You feel what I'm saying? So 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 you have your aquatic, right? Um so basically in early 2026, right? Because we already went over all the major keys and all the major points of the aquatic in part 1 and part 2. So right here, like I said, this is the sum up of what's going on now with your aquatics. So basically, in early 2026, you had in early 2026 you had an event that took place, right, in Florida, right. And this event that took place had something to do with your aquatic family. This event that took place had something to do with the aquatic realm, with the aquatic matter. And they have kept this from you and have hid this from you because they're at war with your aquatic family, just like they're at war with you. So it's hard for your aquatic family to get in touch with you, just like it's hard for you to get in touch with them, right? So it's imperative that we understand this. Now, I got the laptop here with me today to show y'all this visual reference. You feel me? So we can see that the war that's being hidden right in plain sight with our aquatic family. You feel me? And why is so much things happening within the aquatic base? So let me flip the camera around here for y'all. We're gonna be flipping the camera around for y'all. So we have no pointer, but we use a finger. Okay, so you got this right here. All right. We already talked about the Bermuda Triangle in the Caribbean in the part 2. So right here we're gonna sum it up, like I said, what's going on today, or not today, but you know what I'm saying. In your years today of 2026. So you got this event that took place early 2026, right, in Florida, with this advanced race of celestial beings in the aquatic base. This event took place with them, and they had an interaction with one of the humans, one of the Caucasian humans, and this is all a part of the war that's taking place. So before we even decode what's going on, let's go ahead and before we even decode what's going on, let's go ahead and break down their organized lives. So you got we're gonna read this out to y'all because we must go ahead and see what they gotta say before we even try to break down their Dakota lies. So you got the story of Gerald the Dolphin kidnapping at Florida Man. Florida Man is entirely fictional in Oregon. Hold on, y'all, excuse me. And are generated as a viral satire, right? And originated, excuse me. So right, so like I said, it's a war that's being taking place that they're trying to hide from you, and this is what's going on with this right here, right? A lot of us, well, it wasn't national, right? But a lot of us didn't really understand it, so we're gonna decode it right here today. I sat down with the ancestors, they made sure it's all right. I decoded it for y'all, so we're gonna decode it right here today. So right here within this part 3. So it's gonna get deep. Y'all just sit tight. So basically, they're trying to hide this war that's going on from you. It's taking place within the aquatic realms, within your celestial families, within the aquatics, right? Because they're trying to get in contact with you to help you to remember further help you remember who you are, so you can further help play a role in this war to further win back the planet. You feel me? So you got something that just recently took place. The story of Gerald the Dolphin kidnapping a Florida man, right? But they're gonna tell you that the story of Gerald the Dolphin kidnapping a Florida man is entirely fictional and originated as a viral satire, or however you want to pronounce it, the English words. The tales first circulated online in early 2026, claiming that the Florida man named Ricky James Hallowell was abducted by a pod of dolphins led by a dolphin he called Gerald and forced to build an underwater city. According to the viral post, Hallowell was found sunburned and disoriented on a Sanibel Causeway. Weird etymology going on right here. People, what they doing? Drawing blueprints in the sand, and claimed the dolphins communicated with him through clicks and whistles. The stories include elaborate details such as underwater condos, a town square, and a recreation center, which contribute to its rapid spread on social media. Law enforcement and independent fact checkers quickly confirmed that the story was false, of course. The original post came from satire and spoof Facebook pages. That is, and there is no evidence that Hallowell was actually kidnapped or that any dolphin named Gerald exists. Of course, they're going to say that. Experts in dolphins behavior, including Justin Gregg, emphasizing that dolphins do not build structures, cannot kidnap humans, and lack the physical ability to force someone to work underwater. The story was purely humorous fabrication that went viral due to its excuse my mispronunciation for the words, for the English dictionary. But we're gonna skip that. In detailed narrative, in summary, Gerald the Dolphin and the alleged kidnapping are fictional, and the viral story should be regarded as satire rather than a real event. So let's decode this. So basically, what they're telling you here is that it was a event that took place, right, where this Florida man named Ricky James Hallowell was abducted by a pod of dolphins, led by a dolphin called Gerald, right, and was forced to build an underwater city. Now, let's decode this, because why did this happen and what is this based off of, right? Now, like I said, we got a computer here with us today, so we're gonna be pulling up everything that they got to say. So, okay. Now, again, where we at? Yeah, so they said a Florida man named Ricky James Hallowell was abducted by a pod of dolphins led by a dolphin he called Gerald and was forced to build underwater cities. Okay, now, in part 2, what did we talk about? We talked about, just to give y'all a little surface scratch, in part 2, we talked about basically why the dolphins and the whales and the orcas and the seals can communicate the way they communicate through clicks and sounds, right? Which is the same way we communicated in tribes. right? But why do we communicate through clicks and sounds? Because anciently we didn't use words, right? We used vibrations and we understood vibration and frequency. So therefore, if we use our organ, the esophagus, which is not a muscle, which is an actual organ, if we use our esophagus organ to make these certain clicks and sounds, we can create certain realities with certain vibrations. Uh, Meaning we can do certain things with certain vibrations, including telepathy. You feel me? So this is why they communicate through clicks and sounds. Now this is what they're telling you. So right here they're telling you that uh, they're telling you that it's a pod of dolphins led by a dolphin named Gerald that um that has well basically built the underwater city for the rest of the pod of the dolphins, right? And on top of that underwater city, this dolphin Gerald is in a basically aquatic colony where it is condos, a town square, and a recreation center. Excuse my mispronunciation. You feel me? I come from what they call the street, so I gotta slur to my accent. You feel me? But let's stay focused. Which contribute to his rapid spread on social media. Okay, so what they're telling you, like I said, they're telling you that a dolphin named Gerald, right, that abducted this Florida man, Ricky, and forced him to help build their underwater city, or basically made him build their underwater city, right? And when he went down there, when they took him, okay, so we're gonna break it down. Okay, so basically, right? Because it's not just what they're not telling you is that it's not just dolphins doing this, right? It's not just dolphins. It's not just dolphins doing this. So we understand why there's even a what they call ocean here on this realm, right? Based off part 2. We also understand why it is more aquatic than land here, based off part 2. We also understand that the aquatic celestials that are in the waters are connected with an actual ancient titan that is held to the surface of this planet, right? So they are all still one. They are all still connected, which means they're all still doing things in that water, right? So you also have your merman and your siren and your mermaids, real races, real beings that exist, and these are also a part. These are beings also a part of your normal race, right? And now that we know what a normal race is based off part 1 and part 2, these beings are a part of your normal race, and they are okay. So all the beings are part of your normal race here on this planet are your dolphins, your whales, your orcas, your seals, your otters, your manatees, um, your mermaids, your sirens, your mermaids. These 9 aquatic species are an advanced extraterrestrial beings called the Nomos, and they come from Series B, right? Then you have an aquatic titan, an ancient ancestral titan, who is the father of these 9 aquatic species named Ocean. And he is trapped face down into the planet right in the center of the Bermuda Triangle, right? We know all this based off part 2. So it's imperative that we understand that although you have Ocean here and you have the father of these non-aquatic beings here, they're all still working together as one. So you got these sirens, these mermaids, these dolphins, these whales. They're all working together as one under the water. You feel me? So when they're telling you that it's underwater condos, a town square, a recreation center, you feel me? When they're telling you that it's a full underwater city, this is real, right? And this is why they're gonna make it. This is why they're gonna make it sound fictional, because um this actually possible because these are extraterrestrial beings doing this, right? These are not animals. These are not sea creatures. You feel me? These are actual extraterrestrial beings doing this. You feel me? And they're able to do this because of the extraterrestrial beings they are. You feel what I'm saying? And this is why they're keeping from this, and they're warring with these beings, right? This is why they test their bombs in the water. Let's be real. They only test their bombs in the water because they're warring with these beings. And they're actually using those bombs to attack these underwater cities, these underwater condos, these underwater recreation centers, town squares. You feel me? Why you think right after this story came out, right? All those dolphins washed up on the sea. All those dolphins washed up on shore. All those dolphins washed up on the shore when this came out. After this came out, they went over there. All the next thing you know, 42 dolphins washed up on the shore to be exact. 42 to 62 dolphins washed up on the shore to be exact. Right after this went viral. Why is that? Right? And then they're gonna tell you, and then they're not even gonna tell you why those 42 to 62 dolphins washed up on shore. And if they do tell you why, they're gonna lie to you and make it seem like they just killed them. But they didn't just kill them because they can never die. They have soul and spirit. They're not even from this planet. So in fact, because of that, and because they're still connected because they're still in tune and connected, right? They can actually leave the vessel they're in to animate another sea life vessel. So all those, so basically, the pod of dolphins that was led by Gerald that kidnapped Ricky, right? Those pod of dolphins, which was 42 dolphins to 62 dolphins. Those pod of dolphins, which we know are not dolphins, we know those are nomos, extraterrestrial beings, right? Animating dolphin bodies. But they when they washed up on shore, right? Those pod of dolphins, all of those pot of dolphins left those vessels of dolphins and further took on animations of other vessels, right? Of their true, because they're in aquatic, so they could be in their true form. So they took on other vessels within their true forms. You feel me? In aquatics, or they either left the vessel of that dolphin and just took on a true form within the aquatic, or they left the vessel of that dolphin and took on another vessel or animated another vessel within that aquatic life. You feel me? This is how they're able to build these cities and structures underwater, because they can go from body to body. And they come in packs, they come in pairs. That's why it's multiple. You feel me? So they can go, so as a siren, or as a mermaid or a merman, you can take your vessel to the depths of the ocean. Put it, you know what I'm saying? You could take your vessel. So basically, look, this is finna sound crazy. So as a merman or a siren, you can go home, put your vessel inside of the home that you have built in the water, and you can then lead that vessel and enter another vessel within an aquatic base, and further go on within a what they call ocean, right? Whole time while your main vessel is right inside, right at the depths of the ocean, in this civilization under the water that they're telling you about, but they're trying to make it seem fictional, right? So we're decoding it. We're decoding this today. So this finna lead us right into this, right? Because we're gonna come back to this. But it's finna lead us right into this, right? Because you got these aquatic beings are at war with these people that we are at war with, and nobody's talking about it. They're making it seem fictional. You feel me? So we're gonna come back to this Gerald story. You feel me? But I want y'all to see something here right quick. Right? Because a lot of us are asked, okay, well, if it is underwater cities, all right, and these dolphins did build an underwater city, or did take this Florida man to build this underwater city. Uh, First of all, how would they able to take him there and communicate with him and have him alive and all that? You feel me? We're gonna get to that. Second question. Okay. Um. Second question. If it is underwater cities and underwater condos and all type of shit like that, why can't we just go underwater and see it? Why can't we just go get in the ocean, nigga, and go right underwater and find it? Because it's not that simple. These are advanced races of extraterrestrial beings. You gotta realize they're pure intelligence. You feel me? They don't move like that. They're militant, strategic. You feel me? You're not just gonna go underwater and find their bases. Okay, now this is gonna lead us right into our explanation. Okay, well, they tell you that, hold on, let's go to it. Well, they tell you that over 80% of the ocean remains unexplored, with some estimates suggesting up to 95% is still largely unknown. So they tell you that over 80% of the ocean remains unexplored, with almost 95% still unknown. Okay, so that means that it's parts of the ocean that we haven't even seen, that we don't even know exist, because they haven't even seen it. Why haven't they seen it? Okay, and then again, they'll tell you over 80% of the ocean remains unexplored, with some estimates suggesting up to 95% is still largely unknown. Okay, now that lets you know a lot right there, because if they stop searching it, right, or they say it's 80% search, right, why haven't they searched? Okay, so man, if they look, let me tell you something. If they can search the whole solar system, nigga, why the fuck they can't search the whole ocean? If they can search the whole solar system, if they can map out the whole skies using what they call constellations, nigga, why can they not map out the ocean? Why can they not tell us about the ocean? Why can they not explore the ocean as much as they explore the skies, right? That is because the ocean is different, right? Because that ocean is not just an ocean. That aquatic base, this aquatic matter, is not just some regular liquid. Feel me? This is the science that they don't tell you. This aquatic base don't even come from this galaxy. This aquatic base don't even come from this planet. This aquatic base right here comes from, all aquatic base forms from Series B. You feel me? And the only reason this aquatic base down here is because you got aquatic beings down here. You got the head father of the aquatic beings down here. So, because you got the head father of the aquatic beings down here trapped face down into the planet, you gotta understand, when they trying to explore the ocean, they're actually just roaming through parts of this ancient titan that's trapped. And when they roaming through that, guess what? They can't go to them places. They can't. You feel me? We at war with these people, so they're trying to explore the ocean. Their ass gonna die. They trying to explore the ocean. They not even able to access certain parts of the ocean because they don't possess this carbon. They're not able to access certain parts of the ocean because of who they are and what they have done to ocean. Now that we know what ocean really is, you feel me? So so it's only 80% of the ocean unexplored because they cannot explore certain parts of the ocean because of what that matter is. That's not an ocean. That's an actual being. That's an actual living being. Almost a deity. You feel me? And that being doesn't even lays down. What we're looking at that we think is the ocean, that is the back of this being. That is the back of this being. This being is face down into the planet. And this being can rise up, right? And when this being rises up, everybody will see. You feel me? and they're trying to explore it, and they can't explore it because you got the grandfather of the aquatic ain't even gonna let them ain't even gonna, you feel me? That's like them trying to tap into our magic, knowing they can't tap into our magic, so they just demonic, they just demonize it. It's the same thing with the ocean. They can't tap into certain parts of the ocean, so they just tell you that they can't explore it, they haven't explored it. They just say, nah, we ain't explored it. The whole time, they haven't explored it because they can't explore it. They actually can't explore it. You feel me? The white man who told y'all he went to a part in the ocean where it was like a lake in the ocean, and every time he hit it, he bounced off of it. He died. Helicopter blew up, right? That's because it's really like that for them. They can't enter certain parts of the ocean, so they can't explore certain parts of the ocean, so they can't really explore the ocean. You feel me? Because the ocean is not really an ocean. You see? Now, now, when they're telling us, okay, well, you got the Mariana Trench, right? Which is the deepest depths of the ocean, right? Which is pure darkness. Which we know what pure darkness is on this channel. Anti-full dark matter energy, what they call in science anti-matter, full dark matter energy. You feel me? Which the universe is created of, which we are. You feel what I'm saying? But they tell you that the Mariana Trench is a part in the ocean that's so deep that it's darkness. Alright? And it's darkness, to answer your question, how can these cities exist? Well, this is where these cities exist. These places where they can't enter is where these cities exist. Why you think it's a lake within the ocean? Why you think it's water within the water? It's a whole nother within a, you feel me? So picture this body of water, right? Now picture this whole bottom being a whole nother body of water inside of this body of water. That's like some different science that they don't even teach us, period. So it's hard for me to explain to you. So that's why I'm trying to give you visual references. So you got these beings that exist within certain portals of the ocean, all right, within certain matters and density of the ocean, and then they hide these certain densities and matters of the ocean that can't be entered by them, and they'll say, oh, well, it's a tectonic plate, or it's a, and them trying to mess with this, them trying to enter these realities and these cities underwater, it causes a disruption to the planet, because it's like it sends a ripple throughout the planet, because it's like, yeah, I can't enter. So it's like letting the planet know somebody trying to get in that ain't supposed to be in. So this is where you get your earthquakes from, and your volcanic eruptions from. You feel me? But your volcanic eruptions, that's based on something else. That's a whole different lot. But this is where you get your, what they try to say is the turning place. They created continents, and this is what they're trying to say is what the earthquakes is based off of. No, all this is happening because they're underwater trying to fuck with these underwater civilizations, because we are at war with these people on all levels. You feel me? So, these people actually cannot explore certain parts within the ocean because they don't have the genetics to. They don't have the DEA, they have DNA. And so they'll tell you that most of the ocean is not explored when they really can't explore it. So they'll tell you that these underwater cities don't exist, and these underwater condos and the underwater recreation centers don't exist. They'll tell you that this don't exist, and they'll have no way to show you. This is how it's easy for them to be able to be like, nah, that shit don't exist. And we ain't got no proof, so we can't even strike out that it don't exist. Well, it don't exist. We can't get in there, we ain't got no proof to it, it don't exist. Whole time it actually does exist, they just can't enter it, right? This is how they have no pictures of it. This is how they have no footage of it. This is why they can't even get to certain depths of the ocean, because when you enter that dark state of the ocean, what they say is the dark state of the ocean, that's a whole different density, that's a whole different realm of the ocean, that's a whole different realm. That's why it's different beings down there, and that's why when the beings from the surface go down there, they go through a metamorphosis. That's because that's a whole different realm, a whole different dimension in that darkness of the water, right? There's a whole different matter, a whole different density. This is why they can't go down that far. They'll implode. This is why I'm giving you the science to your aquatic life on your planet. Okay, now, these cities exist but they exist within these strongholds that's within the water, and it can't be entered by these Caucasians. And they can't be entered by their technology neither. So this is why they'll tell you, oh, well, them cities don't exist, and they have no way to show you. So it's easy for them to be like, oh yeah, them cities don't exist, but they cities do exist, right? And they don't let us go to them, so we can't go for ourselves. You feel me? This is why they don't let us go so far in the ocean. This is why they try to keep us out of the ocean. This is why they scare us to make us believe that we don't even want to go in the ocean, right? Because of who we are, our genetics, we are naturally attract one of the nomos getting in the ocean. You feel me? And they'll naturally lead us to right one of these cities, nigga. And you feel me? From there, you already know what it is. You feel me? So this is why it's easy for them to now let's go back. So this is why it's easy for them to take this story, right? This is why it's easy for them to take this story and say this right here. This is why it's easy for them to say this. The story of Gerald the Dolphin kidnapping the Florida man is entirely fictional and originated as a viral satire. This is why they're able to say that, because they don't actually have no evidence. They don't have no evidence. They don't even know what the fuck going on. They don't even know what's going on. They don't know nothing. They don't know why this happened. They don't know why. They don't, like, it's nothing. I can't even explain it until it more, because it's nothing that they know. Like, even if anything, they're getting the information from right here. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, this is what took place, and this is why it took place. So, yeah, this is why it's easy for them to tell you it's fictional when the stuff actually does exist. And then you got certain deities that took on a physical manifestation, right? That is aquatic, still aquatic extraterrestrial beings. Like, it's a couple of deities that we know that's based off the aquatic matter. Like, it's a couple, like the Yoruba family, Oshun, Olokun, Yamaya. These are ancient ancestor deities that's based off the water, the aquatics that we know of. That took on a physical manifestation. And you can even connect with them, right? And this is why through certain rituals in Yoruba, you know what I'm saying, you got to go to the water. You know what I'm saying? You got to give offerings to the water. You got to speak to the water. This is why your ancestors knew this. Your ancestors anciently knew scientifically facts about the water. This is why we use the water as our real mirrors. You know what I'm saying? This is why we went to the water, spoke to the water. You know what I'm saying? We spoke life into the water and drank it to life. Give us the water. Give us life. You feel me? But this is why they keep us away from these beings. This is why they keep us away from this aquatic life. Because this is what's going on with your aquatic life today, with your celestial aquatics today. Feel me? So I'm here to tell you that what happened with this Gerald the Dolphin story was true. It 100% took place. It 100% was real. Now, to answer that first question, okay, well, if these dolphins can build an underwater city and all this in the dolphin body, how can they do this? Right? Because they don't have arms in this dolphin body, right? They got fins, and how can they take this man, right? Okay, let's go back to it. Let's see what they said. Let's see what his symptoms was, right? So how can they take this man, right? How can these dolphins take this man, right? And have him underwater, right? And how can they have him excuse me, y'all. How can they have him disoriented, right? And he was found sunburned as well, right? So we know what this is, but for a lot of you who don't know what this is basically like where you're at a point where like, for a short example, like let's say I went somewhere to a certain place at a certain time, you know what I'm saying, and I did something at a certain place at a certain time, and I didn't remember it or nothing like that, I would be this right here, disoriented. You feel me? Now let's click on it and see what they gotta say about it. Disoriented, and see how they play with it. See how they play. Yeah, see how they play. Do y'all see how they play? Because of the answers, we're gonna load right back up. You feel me? What I tell you? Okay, now having lost one of sense of direction. So basically, when he came back from this pod of dolphins, he was disoriented and he was sunburnt, right? And he claimed the dolphins communicated with him through clicks and whistles, right? Claiming that he seen the underwater condos, a town square, and a recreation center which contributed to his rapid spread on social media, right? But let's see what they say. Local law enforcement, and independent fact checkers quickly confirmed that the story was false. Of course, now we know why. The original post came from satire and spoof Facebook pages, and there is no evidence that Hollowell was actually kidnapped, or that any dolphin named Greg exists, and we know why now. Experts in dolphins' behavior, including Justin Graves, emphasize that dolphins do not build structures, cannot kidnap humans, and lack physical abilities to force someone to work on the water. The story was purely a humorous fabrication that went viral due to its So basically, it's saying, well, we just decoded all of that. So this is why they're able to tell you that the story was false and that there is no evidence, because they don't have evidence, because they just can't go in there if they tried. But because of Florida man Ricky, because he was took, not even took, because he was willed into a calling. You know what I'm saying? He was able to do this because he was being willed by these nomos. So they were willing him. Like, what do I mean by being willed by? Like, okay, like, that's like saying you motivate somebody, like you get in somebody's ear, like, see, because they still practice our ancient arts, which is telepathy, which is through the clicks in the sounds, which is how they were communicating with him, right? Which is ancient arts. Because they still practice our ancient arts, they can actually come to you as a thought, and they can actually send motivational thoughts to will you into you know what I'm saying, will you into a calling, or will you into doing something, you know, and not in a negative form. Like, this is not witchcraft, you know what I'm saying? As you see, this didn't happen to nobody neuromelanated or carbonated. This happened to a human this happened to a human. You feel me? This didn't happen to a god or a goddess. This happened to a human. Let's keep that in mind as well. He was willed into doing this. This is why he was able to you know what I'm saying, to go within those depths of the ocean. This is why he was disoriented, because when he came out of them depths of the ocean and he resurfaced, because he left that, now we know that what the darkness is of the ocean, because he left that different dimension in that darkness of the ocean, because he left that darkness of the ocean, he don't remember, because when you come back to this density, you lose all your memory. So he went to a whole nother realm, he went to a whole nother dimension in that water. And when he came back, he didn't remember anything. That's because that's how this realm is set up. This is what the light called lockdown is, right? So he didn't remember anything when he came back. This is why they say that, oh, he just tripping. This is what they try to say. They're trying to say in here, right here, that he just tripping. He don't know what he talking about. Ain't no such thing as that. They can't do that. It's not possible. Scratch it. It's not even no evidence, so scratch it. But I'm telling y'all how they able to say this and how they able to just make it seem like that. It's because they can't even go and get evidence if they wanted to. The only evidence they can get is the surface of it, which they do have, and they did have, and they killed the original man who found this evidence, right? They can't even come in contact with these races, because when they come in contact with these races kill them off, because we are in war with them and what they have done to these races, personally. You feel me? So this is all what's going on in your aquatic life now. You got more these civilizations exist, you know, they exist. And they was able to bring him down there using ancient arts. They was able to have him a part of this and witnessing this using ancient arts. They was doing all this through ancient arts. Ancient arts. Feel me? Ancient arts. That's all there was, ancient arts. Ancient arts. You feel me? You got so much aquatic family. You got so much family in all matters. You feel what I'm saying? You're in what they call your ocean is not your ocean. You have a part where they call the Mariana Trench, which is what they say the deepest part, which is the darkest part of the ocean. What they say is the darkest part of the ocean, where it gets to a point where you implode. That's not a part of the ocean. That's a whole nother dimension. That's a whole nother realm. You feel me? That's a whole nother density, or what they would call it in their science. That's a whole nother density. This is why they can't go that far down. This is why they can't enter that, because they don't have the genetics to enter that density. So this is why any technology that they even send down there implodes. You feel me? In past that threshold is where these cities exist, right? Past that threshold is where these beings are really doing what they're doing. I won't expose exactly what they're doing, but to keep you familiar of what's going on. Yes, this all plays a part. What's happening now? You feel me? So all this, what I just explained, plays a part in aquatic celestials or the celestial aquatics, because they're words just like you and I. Feel me? And they trying to get in contact with you and I, whether you and I know it or not. You feel me? So this is why you can drink the water. It give you life. This is why water holds memory, because it is alive. You feel me? This is what's going on with your aquatics. There is no such thing as well, no, let's not say that, but now that we know our non-celestial aquatics, and now that we know what's going on with them, now we can further expand onto other extraterrestrial beings that's down here that we don't know, that is a part of our lineage and that is here to help us. But the first one we had to get out of the way was this aquatic race, because there's a lot of aquatic around us we don't even know. You got certain aquatic beings that get to you in your home. This is where random water puddles come from. You ever got out the shower, and then, you know what I'm saying, when you got out the shower, you know for sure you turned the water off. You know, you squeezed it extra hard and everything to make sure you turned the water off, but somehow it's still dripping, right? But somehow it's still in a drip for a good minute. You ever had a dry sink and you know you ain't even turned the sink on? Next time you came back to it, the sink was wet spots at the sink. So aquatic beings, you got aquatic beings, and they'll be in their true aquatic form, and they won't even, you know what I'm saying, they'll be in their true aquatic form and won't even take on a physical matter, and that come to you in their true aquatic form. You feel what I'm saying? Throughout your house or whatever. But yeah, so definitely, family, it's imperative that we understand this. I had to get y'all familiar with this part 3. This is the final wrap up of your Nomos race and what's going on with your Nomo race right now. You feel me? They history run further deeper than what I'm just presenting to you right now. But as far as in what they want me to present to you, this is what I'm presenting to you from what they want me to present to you, as they are being channeled to use me as a voice. You feel me? So I'm just letting you know what they want y'all to know is you know what I'm saying, what's going on. But later on down the road, we'll further expand into the aquatic race. But for right now, it's imperative that we just get familiar with this information right here. You feel me? What's going on right here, right now, and we delve into a little bit of history about them. So you feel me? So yeah. yeah, so this is what's going on with the aquatics. Like I said, you got ancestors living in your aquatic basis, family. You know what I'm saying? Straight lineage. And they have no way. What they have a way, but it's hard for them to get to you. You feel me? It's hard for them to get to you because they are at war with the same people you were at war with, and they're just being hidden from you, right? And it's being hidden from you, and these beings in themselves are being hidden from you, right? Because we'll mess around and go to an aquarium and see a dolphin, and won't even know we're looking at a whole extraterrestrial being in captivity. That's how deep it get. Feel me? That's how deep it get. We'll go to the aquarium and see an otter or a seal, and we'll think just because it's happy, playing, doing the tricks, doing all of that, that it's entertainment, when that's really a whole extraterrestrial being in captivity. You feel me? Then they tell us we have an ocean when originally we never had an ocean. The ocean is actually the titan, the ancestral titan of all aquatic base from Sirius B. And ocean is his name, that's why they call it the ocean. So that's the only thing they didn't lie to you about, but they didn't tell you why they call it the ocean. But they didn't tell you what the ocean or the word ocean derived from. You feel me? Peace, God is peace, peace, peace. Or they didn't tell you what the ocean or the word ocean derived from. But that's why they even call it the ocean, because that's his actual name. And when we're looking at him, what they tell us the ocean is just the back of the water. Let me show y'all something right quick. Let me show y'all something right quick. Because we don't know this neither. We didn't know this neither. Let me show y'all something right quick. Let me show y'all something. Because they told us, they went so far in depth lying to us. That I'm finna show y'all something. I'm trying to pull up a good image right now. Okay, we just gonna show up and they went so far in depth to lying to us. Yeah, look, they told us that, well, they didn't even tell us nothing about this right here. They didn't tell us nothing about this, right? Mind you, we're looking at what they say is with the sun bouncing off the ocean, right? This is what they call it. This is what they say, right? But they never told us about this. Why do it look like that then? If this is, come on now, you're telling me, like, listen, and keep in mind, this is water. This is the ocean. This is the ocean. Look at it. Sun bouncing off the water, right? But look, this is what they lied. Look at that. Look at that. This is what they lied to us about. When you're seeing this, and you're seeing this, you're seeing the celestial aquatics. You're seeing the celestial energies, the celestial auras coming from these celestial beings in ocean himself. This is why the water looks like this when it hits the sun, or when the sun hits the water, the sun angle. This is why it looks like this. Right? This is what this light comes from. They don't tell us that. This light, these sparkles, right? The sparkles in the water when the sun hit it. The sparkles in the water when the sun hit it is actually the how can I say this? It's actually let me see. It's the base appearance of the aquatic beings, right? This is the energy of the aquatic beings. This is the aura of the aquatic beings. When you're looking at this, you're looking at the aquatic beings. You're looking at the celestial aquatics. You're looking at their energy. You feel me? In ocean himself. Alright. Because they know when the sun hit the water, it could look just like this, right? This is a plain example of just the sun hitting the water, right? As you see, right? But as you see though, when it's sparkling, when you see it sparkling, see, it's not sparkling, but the sun hitting it though, right? Okay. Hold on. It's not sparkling with the sun hitting it though, right? Okay, now. You see, sun in it, but it's no sparkles, right? And then you got sun in it with sparkles. When you see those sparkles, that is the celestial energy of these aquatic beings. They never told us that. They never told us that. They never told us that though. They just told us, oh, just sparkling. But why do the water sparkle like that? Why is it so smooth like that? Why is it so wavy like that? Right? They never told us that. This is another reason why they created and conjuncted the moon. And this is why the moon releases anti-photon matter to strictly attack the ocean. This is why when they turn the moon on, ocean gets aggressive and he gets pissed off, and this is why the tides rise and the water get more aggressive, because they are turning on this moon to attack ocean, and they attack all the other aquatic lives. But your whole aquatic lives, your fish and all of that, they get their whole structure, their whole setup and structure from the nomo beings. And these nomo beings have tried to get in contact with certain gods on an African landmass, but we'll later on expand into that, because that's a little more of their history. But a lot of people know the nomos from in African history, or what they call African. A lot of people know the nomos from but the nomos actually run deep cosmically. They run deep. But this is the sum up for that, so we're gonna leave this off right here. I hope all y'all have a peaceful, blissful, beautiful day. I hope y'all took in what y'all needed to take in. I hope y'all caught all the gems y'all needed to catch right here. As this came strictly from, I cannot say the name of this aquatic being that is channeling through me right now, but I will tell you this. May now that you understand what's going on around you on all forms, it's a war. It was never meant to be a war, but this is what it has to be now that you have parasitic invaders on your planet. So, with that being said, peace and gratitude to everybody that tuned in to hear this message. Peace to the ancestors, peace to ourselves, and peace to all the high vibrational gods and goddesses of planet God. Peace to all the gods and goddesses of planet God, and we leave as we come. Peace.